What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Off the Ball podcast with me, your host, Chris LeBron, and we are on the Nothing But Net radio channel on Dash Radio. So thank you for everyone for tuning in right now and listening on Dash Radio. Make sure to download the app. Today's show, man, I got a special guest with me, someone that I've seen. Man, he's all over the place, man. I'm seeing him all the big time podcasts and all that. So I'm so happy to have him on the show. I got Andrew Combo Salop, former pro hooper. What's going on, my man?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you having me on your platform, man.
Man, it's an honor to have you on the show, man. Been wanting to get you on, and I'm happy that we finally got to do this, man. So, how have you been handling, all the craziness in the world, COVID and all that? How have you been able to, keep doing what you've been doing?
Man, it's been tough for a lot of people, and I feel bad for so many people, but it's been pretty good for me, just staying focused, working on the pod, hanging with my son first and foremost, and that's what I've been focusing on, man. Things have been good. I have no complaints.
Yeah. So obviously you're a podcaster, and so tell me a little bit about your show and how you start. How'd you get started?
Oh, well, I was playing overseas, and I was into play-by-play. I wasn't actually doing it, but it was something I was interested in, and I would actually work on it. Like during my last year playing overseas, I knew it was my last year. Actually, the year before my last year, I thought it was my last year, but then I played real well and ended up playing another one. Whatever, to cut that story a little bit shorter. But I really wanted to do play-by-play, and I started listening to podcasts, and I'm like, I think it'd be cool to start my own. And then I just, started up. I think it was like a year after my playing career I started up. And I started with an episode called 5 Keys to Reaching Your Hoop Dreams. And just, my experiences, what I thought the 5 main keys were. And it kind of evolved since then. It was more, I guess, I wouldn't say skill development, but more maybe instructional at that point from that first episode. But now we're a lot more, NBA current event pod, or pop culture, or even music once in a while, sneakers, fashion, and, including bonus episodes. I think we're 250 episodes in, main episodes. Yeah, main episodes, I think we're around close to 240 now. We've had a lot of great guests from ESPN, Fox, former NBA players, former guys that played overseas like myself. And, man, it's been really great, just a great experience. And I'm just going to continue to build.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I saw you had Jay Billis on, right? Not too long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long. That was definitely during the quarantine. Yeah, definitely. Shouts to Jay, man. He just had an hilarious post where he hit a golf ball, and he said he paid somebody handsomely to compliment him in the background while you got to go back. It's hilarious, bro.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. He's always posting Young Jeezy quotes.
Yeah, he's always posting rap lyrics.
Yeah.
He's dope. Yeah,
definitely.
And he's definitely one of the best in the biz. But
for sure,
obviously, podcasting and it's a lot harder than people think, right? So for you, when you first got into podcasting, what was the one thing that you said that made you that when you started doing, like, wow, I didn't think it would be this hard, this aspect of this?
Well, I think it's a lot of work, but I wouldn't consider it hard because I love it. And also, I would correct your statement in this way. I don't think it's hard to have a podcast. I think it's hard to have a great podcast, right?
There you go. Yeah, you're right.
Like I could put out one episode a year and talk into the mic a little bit, and I got a podcast. And
exactly. Yep.
I didn't even want to consider myself a podcaster until like a year into it. That's when I really feel like, okay, I'm getting into it.
Agreed.
I'm not the type of person to just say, oh, I'm a podcaster now because I have 2 episodes, And, you have to start somewhere, obviously. So if that's something you want to call yourself, I'm not mad at you or anything, but that just was me. And, man, that's what it is. That's what it is, bro.
Yeah. I'm happy you corrected me, because that's what I was trying to say. But you're right. Like the first year for me, maybe not the first year, but the first few months, like I knew I had a podcast, but I wasn't calling myself because I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue what I was doing. I just was one of those people who would just do a show and and then I realized, I'm like, all right, no, I'm doing something wrong here. It's like I had a few episodes that popped, but then it was like, nah, there's something missing. And I'm like, all right, let me go back in the lab and figure this thing out. And I remember just having this moment, like, all right, I could definitely do better. So like, all right, I gotta invest, right? You gotta invest. You want to get better, you gotta invest.
You gotta invest time.
You gotta invest your time. You gotta invest in equipment. You gotta invest in software. and just in like invest in yourself. You figure out how do I do an intro? The little things that you don't think about. Intro. How to just figure out a show and all that, and reaching out to people. I think a lot of people get scared of rejection too.
Not me.
No, and I learned that. I'm like, hey, I email a bunch of people a day, and hey, sometimes
the thing is like, you should never take anything personally.
Exactly.
It's all business. It's it is what it is.
Exactly. And I a lot of people who ask me like, yo, how'd you do it? It's like, hey, you just got to just email a bunch of people. And if you get rejected, you get rejected. You just can't let that affect you. You got to keep going and keep grinding.
The thing is, a lot of people want to share their story. So, there'll usually be some people to talk basketball with.
Oh yeah, of course. And I realized that when I remember I got Matt Babcock as my first like big guest, and I was like, wow, like
I've had Matt's the man. I've had Matt on the show. Yeah.
He's awesome. Yeah, I've had
very knowledgeable. Very knowledgeable. Yeah.
Knowledge of, and that's another thing is learning from these people.
Yeah, I've had Matt on the show because the big thing what we do, we've had a bunch of draft episodes, like draft talk is like a big thing of mine on my show.
Yeah, I love it.
It's obviously not the whole show, but we do a lot of it. We have a lot of draft episodes. Yeah. So Matt was definitely on the show before.
Yeah. And that's what got me really even more invested into the draft. Like I was always someone who liked the draft and all that. But when I got him on, it started like just trickling down to like getting more people on about the draft. And then I kind of became like one of the draft podcasters where I was getting everyone who knew the draft, doing live draft shows, live mock drafts, and got all the top draft content creators on Twitter together and do a bunch of drafts. And that's when I started to get invested more into the draft, learning more about the process, the ins and outs from people who are in the, who are in the gyms watching these kids play. So that to me was
definitely
a cool thing to learn about. And then that just opened up a whole another world for me that I didn't know existed.
That's dope. That's dope.
The whole world of podcasting and basketball content creators and draft. Like you think about the draft and you think of, a few people, on these big time networks, but you don't realize there's a whole world of people that just, that know their stuff and put the time into it. And that's what was intriguing to me. Like, wow, there's some talented guys out there that know what they're talking about too. That's another thing.
Like the time you put into your podcast, they're putting into the draft. So yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. So that was dope for me. And just keep getting better. I tell people just keep grinding. We'll keep working at it day by day. And if you put the time and the work into it, good things will happen.
I think if you focus on consistency, you'll just end up getting better and better. You don't even have to focus on getting better and better. You just have to focus on consistency, and that's where you'll build your community, and that's where you'll get better as a podcaster.
No doubt. I 100% agree with that. All right, so let's rewind it back for you. Obviously, you played some pro ball and all that, but who was the first? Who was the first player or moment or game that made you fall in love with the game?
Wow, that's interesting. I think it was man, my mom always tells me about this. I think it was Isaiah Thomas, and I don't even remember anymore if it was Mr. Rogers or Sesame Street. It was one of them. And I think it's Sesame Street. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it was Sesame Street. So I think that was one of my first memories of the game. But growing up, I like players like Pistol Pete, who is before my time, but I kind of like dug into his videos and stuff. Mm-hmm. And obviously Michael Jordan, I was a Michael Jordan guy. And as I got older, I stopped wanting to have favorite players because I was, a competitor. And I was a ball player myself. I'm like, man, I'm not a fan of anybody. That's a New York City mentality, which I have.
Of course.
So it was Pistol Pete and Michael Jordan, but I liked a bunch of players' games. In the modern NBA, some of my guys that I'm a real proponent of their game is the guys like, Luka Doncic and John Moran and LeBron James. And I probably should have said LeBron first because, he's the greatest player in the game. But, yeah, those guys are some players I really enjoy watching them play.
Yeah, so you grew up in New York City, right?
Riverdale in the Bronx.
There you go. So just talk to me about –
Where are you from? Where are you from in the city?
I'm currently in Queens right now, but
I'm currently in Queens.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So we close.
yeah.
We
Don't
close
tell
by.
anybody. I can't let them know where Combos Court Studios is. You know.
No, no. We'll keep that under the wraps. We'll keep that
Well,
in
we'll keep it under wraps while we're live streaming, right?
our live stream. We won't say exact locations, but we're in Queens. Queens is
We're in
big, so
Queens. That's true. That's true. Exactly.
yeah. But
That's
no, I grew up in Brooklyn, born in Brooklyn. H borough has a piece in my heart. You know, I've had family in the Bronx, graduated in the city. You know, lived in Staten Island. So each borough has a big piece of my heart. You know, so that's why. You
most
know,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Been,
grew up playing in every borough except Staten Island. I never really hooped in Staten Island.
the hooping is not as big there, but you know they got some
They,
hoopers there.
they got some hoopers. I just,
Yeah.
you know, I played in every borough and, you know, traveling all around every borough playing in different tournaments and stuff. So, yeah, I'm a New York City guy, man. I'm a New York City guy.
There you go. So obviously New York City basketball, I mean, it's legendary. We all know that. So just talk to me about growing up in New York City and talk about some of the, you know, we have so many legendary courts. You know, we can go we can go days about talking about all these courts, but just talk to me about you growing up in New York City, the New York City basketball scene, and just some of the best places you've been able to hoop at.
Yeah, so I grew up in Riverdale, and that's where it all started for me when I was younger. I wasn't venturing out yet when I was like 10 or 11, you know, mostly where I lived. And then once I started getting a little bit older, I started venturing out to places like, you know, as a young kid, watching some of these tournaments in like Dykeman and Rucker Park and wanting to play in them one day. And I remember even dribbling my ball to Dykeman and back, like from Riverdale to Dykeman. If you know, it's not too close. So I was like working on my handle the whole way. But, you know, those are all places I ended up playing, you know, like EBC and Rucker Park and Dykeman. And, man, yeah, it was nothing like New York City, nothing like playing in a New York City crowd. And, you know, there's a lot of other tournaments besides Dykeman and Rucker that people probably will never know, with a lot of great games that were never videotaped, no photos, and just legendary moments, man. I could think of so many great times just playing basketball in New York City. And that was before it was the business, you know. That was all for the love. It was the love when I was overseas, but you know, that was just a different time, man. And just watching guys play in those tournaments and then ending up playing in them, it was great, man. It was great.
That must have been a dream come true. Like you said, it's one thing to watch it, but to then have the dream, like, yo, one day I'm going to play in one of these tournaments, and boom, you're playing it. So what was that feeling when you're in Dykeman, you're in Rucker?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was good, you know. But like once you lock in, I'm just, you know, worried about competing. You're not really thinking about your childhood, you know. So, but yeah, it was great. It was great playing in those tournaments. And just the thing that's different about New York City is the crowd. Like once you start getting in a rhythm and you start playing well, everybody gets behind you. Yeah,
yeah, you get hyped. You know, everyone's standing up. Yep.
There's nothing like that, man. There's nothing. It definitely builds toughness. It's something that like you carry with you to the other places you play when you grow up playing like in the top New York City like street ball scene, you know. So yeah, man, it was just amazing memories and amazing experiences.
Yeah, man. I mean, the New York City basketball scene. I mean, it's something.
I'll tell you a story. I just had Randy.
Go.
I saw you had Randy Cruz on your show, right?
Yeah. I just had him on. Yeah, a few shows ago.
I remember playing against Joe Cruz.
He has his own tournament. Yeah,
of course. That's what they're known for now. But I remember playing against Joe Cruz, and I was like the youngest guy in the court. I think Joe is a little bit older than me, and he had Obi Toppin's father on his team, Snoop.
Yeah.
Called Snoop, and that's just the memory I had. That was one of the first like tournaments in Harlem I played in. So yeah, man, I just have a lot of great memories and stuff. Obi Toppin's father was athletic; he was a good player, man. And and Joe was a shooter. I remember Joe's the man. That's my guy.
That's awesome. So did you play high school basketball? Were you in AAU scene? Tell me a little about growing up and playing ball.
Yeah, I played in Clinton for a little bit, which is New York City public high school, but I mostly played in prep schools in the Connecticut and Massachusetts area. And I was out of town for the most part. Yeah, so mostly Massachusetts and Connecticut. I went to 4 different high schools for basketball reasons, just jumping around. But I was all over the place. I saw all different kinds of schools, you know, from private schools to New York City public schools to prep schools. So I had a lot of different, friends, and it made me very well rounded.
Yeah,
you know.
because those are all different types of basketball.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, all different kind, definitely. So, I thought it was a great experience playing in all those schools. Some people might look at it as a funny way. You went to 4 high schools, but I loved it.
But like you said, it probably helped you build your character. And like you said, because you're playing against different types of, like, if you know New York City basketball, the Catholic school scene, and the
Yeah,
public
yeah.
school, it's a different type of basketball. You play public school basketball, you got to get down and dirty, especially
Most
growing up, growing up in the 90s and 2000s, it's gritty basketball.
Yeah, I'm thinking even about like the street tournaments in the early 2000s, man. That was different, man. I have some crazy stories I probably can't even talk about on this podcast, like what I saw in some of the parks and stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah, man, nothing. I wouldn't trade me growing up in New York City for the world, man. And I'm still here, Queens, we're here.
I know, right? Everyone says they want to leave, but we still we still wind up staying. It's crazy.
Chris, I wouldn't mind having a winter home in LA or Miami. So, summers, New York is the best, but winters, I might, I need to get that. I might need to get that winter home one day,
Yeah, man, because these winters are brutal, man. Snow, and we might get more snow. I can't.
It didn't affect me when I was little, but now I'm like, wow, this is cold. Like,
I'm so glad you brought that up. I was just talking to my son before, and he's like, I love snow. I was like, well, when you get a little older, and you're gonna have to start shoveling, and you got to shovel to get out of work, and you got to be in work in 10 minutes, and there's the snow's up to the window. You're not gonna love it as much.
No, definitely. Yeah, it's not the same like it used to be. Like one day is cool, but then when it's like over and over and over again, snow, it's like.
And then we just got over the first one, right? And it's like,
yeah, that's right back.
And then boom, we get hit with another one, and then another one. It's like, all right, come on.
Most definitely. Yeah,
but still, that New York City, that it makes you tough, man. It really, New York City toughness is a real thing,
and you don't realize it until you leave. What you have,
Exactly, and I think people just look at the lights and think, oh, like it's all glitz and glamour. But New York City is blue collar for the most part. It's a blue collar town, man. You gotta be tough to live in New York City, because if you could, like they say, you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. Hooping growing up, you had to be tough because everybody thought they were the best player on the court, and if you showed any sign of weakness, dudes will go at you. So you had to always be tough. And even when dudes would go at you, you still have to talk trash because you don't want to let them know that they think that you got over on you. It's all mentality, but it's great. It's great.
The old mentality. What was that moment for you where you realized that, okay, I could hoop a little bit? When was that first realization that you could play?
Well, my mom always told me I was the greatest, so it was since I was young. I think my mom instilled a lot of confidence in myself. I always thought I was the best player on the court because she told me I was over and over again. So
that's dope.
I always thought I was great. Obviously I always wanted to improve, and seeing the improvement made me want to improve more, and it almost became like an obsession, or pretty much was an obsession to become the best player I could possibly be. And so I always thought I was good, man. I'm from New York. We think we're good. We know we're good.
Yep. Yeah, I remember this being the same way too, growing up, especially in high school. I played I played a few years of high school basketball. But I was confident as heck. Have came in swag. Hey, I remember one play, this one guy, he had hops. I mean, he could jump out of the gym. And I was like, nah, he ain't getting nothing on me. And I remember making a block that I still remember to this day. It was 19 years ago. But you remember that play. And that play, everyone was talking so much about him. I was like, nope. I went up. He went to try to go for a layup. I swatted it. Coach was like, all right, you're on the team, man. I got to get you on this team,
Yeah. What people might think your greatest accomplishments are might not even be your biggest memories growing up, Mm-hmm. It's like the little things. It's the little things,
Yeah. Definitely. So you go play overseas, right? When was how was that process? Because I've had a lot of guys, on the show talk about going overseas and all that. But for you, how was that experience going from living in New York City to now going overseas?
Man, it was an adjustment, man, because you're not with family. A lot of the players you're playing with have their lives going on there. They have family in Israel. A lot of them are natives. You have a few Americans on your team sometimes. But yeah, it's just adjustment. It's a lot of idle time because you have practice and then you go home and there's just a lot of nothing to do. Obviously, you get like into the nightlife a little bit, which that was fun, but it's a lot of idle time. But it was a great experience. Like I learned about all different kinds of cultures, had learned about all different kinds of food. Like I still eat falafel to this day because I was playing in Israel. Denmark was a great country. It was cold there though. It was cold. It was kind of like New York in the winter, right? And it would get dark real early. But yeah, it definitely opens up your mind on the court, but even more off the court.
And what was that decision to, because you said you played in Denmark and you played in Israel, right? Israel was first?
Israel was first.
How did that decision come about?
Well, yeah, I was playing in the minor leagues in America. It was called the ABA. They still have it, but it was a little bit better back then because there was no G League. So I was playing in the ABA, and then me and an agent got to talking, and he thought I should go to Israel. So he brought me and a few other guys over there, and we worked out with some teams. And then from there on out, it was Israel for a while, and then Denmark, and then back to Israel for a little bit more.
Nice. So like you mentioned before, that adjustment, what was the biggest adjustment, for you going to Israel? Because like you said, it's obviously cultural, and just you go into a different country. But how old were you when you went there?
I would say 22, if I remember correctly. Yeah, maybe around there.
Still young.
I was young. I was young, and the crazy thing is in Israel, you got like it's just you see people with big guns walking around, like army members all over the place. Because
scary.
Yeah, it was like different. It was like what? Like just I'm not like a gun expert. I think they had like AK-47s on them. I don't know what kind, but they were these big guns, and just soldiers walking around, and the language barrier was tough, even though a lot of people speak English. You have to get used to the food, even though it's great food. But you're just living a totally different life. It's like it's a totally different world. You don't really know. I didn't really know what to expect, so it was all culture shock to me. It was all culture shock.
Did you read up on because obviously the stuff you do in America that you can't do in other countries that you might not know of, but did you read up? Did you go Nothing. On Google, or you just said, hey, I'm going to just talk to whoever and just figure things out once I get there?
Honestly, I was so locked into basketball, I didn't think about that I would actually have to live there. I'm just thinking about like what will basketball be like? What would my role on the team be like? How much money would I get paid? It was just all basketball. I mean, I wasn't even thinking about like the living part because I was so locked into basketball. But obviously, it was something I should be thinking about, right? Going to a new country. You're not thinking, I was just thinking about basketball. That's it. That's, I was locked in.
Yeah. And when you chose it, was it a matter of fit? Was it a matter of playing time, money? What was the main factor in your decision?
Well, in the beginning, you have less leverage. So it was just, just getting in the best situation possible. So yeah, you take the most money you can. You don't really know what your fit will be until you get there sometimes overseas. So it was just finding the best situation possible, for the most part.
And how was the adjustment to go to, now you go from going from America to Israel, now you're going to Denmark, how was that adjustment? Was that an easier adjustment to go,
Yeah, there was a girls team. My same club had a girls team, and they had a lot of American girls there, and it was an easier adjustment. And even though I'm Jewish, so Israel wasn't like you would think it'd be an easy adjustment for me, but Denmark was a great adjustment because there was a few American girl players in my town, and everybody, the English was better. I felt like in Denmark, like everybody spoke perfect English. It was a little bit colder though. It was a lot colder. Israel's a lot warmer. But Denmark was great. Like I enjoyed the style of play in Denmark. It was really up and down. I scored a lot of points there when I was there, and it was fun, man. Denmark was great. That was a great year. That was an awesome year. It was a quiet town. Like it was only a town of like 7,000 people, okay. But it was beautiful. Like they had like the water, and it was everybody knew each other, and Denmark was great. And Copenhagen is a great city, which was like 4 hours away, so I checked that out. I love both countries. I love both. Would I live in either country? No, I want to live in New York City, but they were great. They were great.
That's awesome, though, and that's what I love to hear about when I get guys like you that used to play overseas, just learning about that because it's not easy. You made it seem like it was easy, but I'm sure in reality it's not as easy as people think, making that adjustment going to different countries. So definitely happy that you shared those stories, because I'm always interested to see that adjustment, because like I said, it's definitely what couldn't have been easy to just make that decision to go to Israel. It's just to live out your dream though, and that's what you were doing. You just wanted to hoop, and you didn't.
Yeah,
it didn't
I
matter
don't think
where. You just wanted to hoop.
It wasn't a tough decision to me, like because I just wanted to play basketball and make money playing basketball. Like so, it wasn't really a tough decision. It was something I really wanted to do. So, and I just went out and did it. Did my due diligence.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You just want to live your dream, right?
That's a fact. Yeah,
you want to live your dream, and you're willing to take some risk, and that's awesome. That's really awesome.
And it's all led to what I do today. So it's
exactly. And that's
I wouldn't have done anything differently.
That's awesome. So where'd you get the name Combo? You got one of the best nicknames. I love that nickname. I think I've been following you for a minute. I'm like, Combo, that's such a dope name. Did someone give it to you? How did the nickname Combo come about?
I dunked on 78 people and they said you're a combo of dunking on people. No, that's not it. It's it was I just made, honestly, it was before I even got really into basketball. I named myself, which in New York City you're not supposed to name yourself.
Oh, so you named yourself? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, in New York City they say
you really had the swag. Okay.
Yeah. So they say you got to earn your nickname, but I didn't. I guess I didn't earn it, but everybody called me it, so it stuck. But in third grade, I think it had nothing to do with basketball. I just call me Combo. I was just telling everybody, call me Combo, don't call me Andrew. And it was I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't. It had nothing to do with basketball, even though people always say oh, you were a combo guard, right? Or you got the combination handle.
I thought combination handles.
I did have it. That's one of the things that was a part of my game. People knew me for having a pretty nice handle. So, but that wasn't it. I just named myself. I like the name. So, at third grade, I was 7. I named myself Combo. And look, I'm in my 30s now, and I'm still Combo. So it stuck.
And you went by even when you played in the courts, in New York City.
Oh yeah, New York City. In the street ball tournaments, I've had a million nicknames. If you go to a new place, once they start knowing you everywhere, they'll call you the same thing. But I've had a million nicknames over the time. Those guys are funny on the mics in New York.
Oh yeah, that's a trip.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've heard some stuff on there that makes you go.
Yeah, most definitely. But I'm Combo for the most part. Most people know me as Combo. So, yeah.
Yeah. I did. Like I said, I thought Combo would be because you had nice handles and all that.
But it fits. It fits. So it worked.
It fits, and yeah, man, that definitely fits because it's a dope nickname.
Yeah. And now we have Baby Combo, so I got myself.
There you go. We got Baby Combo, that's for sure. That's like my name. My name's LeBron, Chris LeBron.
Is that really your last name?
That's really my last name. So
are you a LeBron? You like LeBron's game?
I like LeBron. I think I've liked him more the last few years. Appreciate him more the last few years because
eventually he'll be gone.
Exactly, I just learned to appreciate greatness because when he's gone, we're gonna miss him. No matter if you hated him because you just hate him or you love him, when he's gone, you're gonna be like, man, I miss him so much.
Huge part of basketball, man. Huge part of basketball history. LeBron James.
I just don't get how people can hate this man. It just doesn't make sense. What is there to hate? The story is great. It always. For me with LeBron,
look, he's gonna
close to me and how he grew up. So I always have that respect for him and how he was able to make the best out of the situation and come out and look at him, and he's a mega star,
Yeah, probably people on the live stream are gonna kill me, but he's gonna come out of this as having the best career ever. You could say who's the best player, but his career is unmatched in terms of longevity and how long he's been great for.
Yeah, 18 years, and he could win. He could win the MVP in year 18,
and he should have won. And he should have won more MVPs. So
yeah, and I've talked about that so many times. The way the MVP system is, and people get tired of voting for the Giannis. People won't even think about Giannis this year because they already voted for him twice. Same thing with LeBron. LeBron should realistically probably have 5, 6. It's the same thing with Jordan. Jordan only had 5. He probably should have had 10. You know,
Yeah, definitely.
Points over him. It's like, no.
Yeah, I always said like no matter who wins it, LeBron's the most valuable player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's actually the most valuable no matter who you give the award to.
Oh, he's literally more valuable than he's getting paid. He's probably worth maybe more. He's probably worth, especially for Cleveland. Like he was probably worth half a bill for them. I mean, maybe more because he brought in so much money and helped that city grow. As he was growing, the city grew, and then when he left, the city went down. Then he came back, brought it back up, won a championship, and the city, forgave him, which is number one. And now they, it's where it is now. But we gotta just appreciate greatness. Like I feel like, and you probably see it a lot on social media. Just people just like hating, just to hate, and it just gets tiring. Where Tom Brady just won the Super Bowl. People hate. LeBron James won the championship last year. Well, it was a bubble championship. It's always trying to find ways, like especially with LeBron, like and guys like that, Tom Brady. They just find ways to just hate. And I can't stand it. I don't know about you, but it's just tiring to argue with people about on all that stuff when it comes to just greatness. Like just appreciate it, guys.
No, I'm with you. A lot of nitpicking, but what could you do?
Especially with LeBron, like it just half the stuff. Like a lot of people hate him for reasons like that just don't make any sense. Like
who's the greatest wrestler of all time? Though that's what I want to know.
All right, so we want to get into the. All right, so the criteria for wrestling is weird too.
I know who the greatest wrestler is of all time, and he wasn't even my favorite.
My personal favorite is Bret Hart.
He was up there for me. I used to use him in WCW NWO Revenge over and over again.
Still have it.
What?
I still have mine.
You won't beat me because I'll use Hulk Hanna, and he's like a cheat code. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
The sumo dude.
Yep,
once he power bombs you once, it's over.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into a deep dive of WCW versus NWO Revenge, though.
Oh, that's great. That one or No Mercy?
That one's better. It's better.
It is.
Okay, there might be more advancements than No Mercy, but just like the character of the game, I don't know. It's just something about it,
I agree, and it's hard to explain. And the same way you try to explain it, the same way is like I can't explain it because it's the same,
Because No Mercy is more advanced.
Yeah, it's
more advanced.
The modes they got a couple more, like I guess the story modes and all that, but.
WCW, NWO. We gotta play. Can we play online? Can we do that online? Is there a way to do that?
I think we could stream that. Yeah, I think we can.
Can we do that on Twitch?
I'm sure you can.
Let's figure that out because I would love to play that game.
We got to figure out how to play each other. I don't know if that's possible, but
can we get an N64 controller like put into the computer? I don't know.
I don't know. We got to figure. Maybe we could get emulator. I know they got emulators now.
We'll figure it out. It would be great to play you. Yeah,
I think that'll be fun because I love. What's crazy? I had mine, and then I didn't have one for a while, and then my mother's fiance owns a bunch of buildings, and he had a box, and he just says, "Hey, Chris, you just want there's a box of stuff here that I got from my tenants that they just left around. Just check it. If you want anything, take it." I got looked at a few things. Nothing. And then I saw a green Nintendo 64. And
so wait, you've played N64 before this time or no?
Yeah. I had one before, but I got the regular one, the regular gray one.
Yeah. Right.
And
so what year was this when you found the new green one?
2 years ago.
Oh wow! Okay.
2-3 years, yeah, like 2-3 years ago.
I feel like it's a moment in time where like it won't be the same if you play it now, right?
No,
or is it?
I felt that nostalgia of when, and so let me finish. I had then 2 controllers, and then No Mercy and WCW Revenge.
They were in there.
They were in there.
Wow,
dude! I've never hooked up a system quicker in my life. Hooked it up, and I was
Can you even hook that up to a smart TV, like to a? Yeah. They still got the red and the green and all that.
Yeah. A lot of the TVs, still have those rare red, green, the red, yellow, white.
That's
I found, and I'm like,
it used to be hoop for hours, and then go back to my friend's house and play that over and over again, man. And I used to get my friends so mad with Hawk Hanna, but they had their guys too. I use Bret Hart a little bit. Like using the sharpshooter.
Yeah, because Brett's in WCW and WWE.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not in No Mercy because that's where he
left.
No,
yeah. Then there was one WrestleMania 2000 was you didn't like it?
No, I don't like that one. I have it.
Yeah, there was glitches in one of them. One of them
they changed the gameplay. The gameplay is completely different. It's
It was THC something.
THQ. THQ. It's just the gameplay is like nah. Like, and even having it now, like, because then I bought a few, and I bought like Raw's War. It's like, all right, no.
Nah, that wasn't
good. Garbage. That was garbage.
PlayStation wrestling games were trash.
Because you had to use like 8 different buttons. So to do a punch, you had to press L2, R2.
And 64 was simple.
It was simple, right? And you just then it was good, the analog stick.
One of my favorite games of all time, easily.
Yeah. That brought me back. I've never been. I was like a kid at the candy store when I seen that green Nintendo 64, and it just it had that.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, to find these, like I looked on eBay, like just like how much, like it's impossible. Like you got to spend mad money, like $400 to get the green one too, not just the regular, green clear one, like where you see it inside.
You know what's amazing about nostalgic stuff? They don't even sell for that much on eBay when you try. Like I have like the full Marvel cards from like I don't know, is that 92 or something? I don't know what year that's from. But you can't like they're like $50 for the whole set. Like
I have like a bunch of cards like from the 90s and all that, and
like Michael Jordan cards would sell for like $2, and they're like the original card. It's like what?
Yeah, because now with sports cards and all that, now that it's like back and booming.
You know it's turning virtual though, right? You heard of NBA Top Shot?
NBA Top Shop?
Top Shot. They're doing virtual. You're basically buying highlights now, and they're selling for big money. You're like buying a virtual card, but it's like a video. Almost like it's like Google. They have an Instagram page, NBA Top Shot. It's going to get big. I probably should buy some for an investment, but basically it's like a video version of memorabilia. So you could buy like, let's say a Luka highlight, like you buy a step back 3, and these things are selling. These things are like selling. Yeah. It's like cryptocurrency and sports memorabilia combined.
Oh, so that's like the version. Okay. I gotta look at that. Yeah. I never heard of that. That's
it's still on the low a little bit, but it's growing.
It's on the low. Well, it might blow up right now. So people
will. Combo said it.
Gamble said
on the Off the Ball podcast. So now
it's that's crazy. I gotta look into that.
Send me a check, NBA.
send a check to Combo, right? In Queens.
That's right.
But, so who's your favorite wrestlers growing up? Since I'm a big wrestling fan.
Is Hogan canceled? Didn't he say some crazy stuff?
Hogan, he's still canceled to me. Like I'm not.
He's canceled
for me. The Hogan, like I was never really a big Hogan fan, but like when all right,
so we'll take Hogan out of it.
I'm not a big Hogan guy.
I mean, so after that era, it was definitely the Stone Cold. It was Stone Cold, and I like Mr. Perfect. I like Bret Hart. I liked a lot of those guys. I remember liking Papa Shango for some weird reason. I don't even know why.
Papa Shango.
What?
My son started liking Papa Shango.
They like him?
Yeah, he likes him.
He was
WWE 2K, and he's always fighting against Papa.
He ended up in the Nation of Domination with Farouk in them, right? Like
he was a few characters. He was a few guys. He was Kamala, not Kamala.
Yeah.
Kamal Mustafa, something like that. Yeah, he was a bunch of guys before he became, eventually became the Godfather, and started games. Yeah.
So Macho Man was great with Elizabeth, Ultimate Warrior. But I think the greatest of all time is, and he wasn't even one of my favorites because I wasn't paying attention to like WCW, NWO back then until like the Monday Night War started. Then you almost had to pay attention, right? At that point. But like Ric Flair's the greatest, man. Ric Flair's you can't, he wasn't my favorite. So I'm being unbiased, but he was the greatest.
He was a total package. Like, my skills were on 1,000.
And in terms of winning titles, in terms of the charisma, in terms of the promos, like, he's the most well-rounded wrestler ever.
Yeah, and
I mean, obviously his mainstream peak wasn't like Stone Cold, and Stone Cold was my favorite, but I would still say Ric Flair was the greatest, you know?
And he's been able to stay relevant for
Yeah,
all these years. Like, that's hard to do. Like, there's only a few guys who could stay relevant for decades.
So yeah, I forgot if it was the 95 or 92 Royal Rumble, and I was actually watching some wrestling YouTube
when he won it.
He was in there for 60 minutes.
Yeah, the 92 Royal Rumble. Yeah, but he won it. Yep, it was 92. Yeah,
he was 42 already.
He was 42. Yep, he was 42, and he went the whole way.
Tough.
That's
like,
hard.
And he's done so much since then, just in terms of like on camera stuff, you know. So
yeah,
it's like,
and he's still on camera. He's still on Raw weekly because he does stuff with his daughter.
Yeah, I haven't seen that because I've been paying attention.
Yeah. He's still on TV. He's doing an angle with his daughter, and he's feuding with someone. So
I guess since we're canceling Hulk Hogan, I guess my top. You want me to tell you my greatest 5 or my?
Give me your Mount Rushmore.
Okay, yeah, it would be Stone Cold, Ric Flair, The Rock. Who? Stone Cold, Ric Flair.
It's hard.
I had a 5. Like I've said this before. Yeah, I don't know. Would I put Macho or Bret Hart in that 4th? Probably Macho or Bret Hart. I think I'm missing somebody that I would always say. Yeah.
So you said Rick, Stone Cold.
Those 3, yeah.
Rick, Stone Cold. You said Macho Man?
Well, definitely it would be Rick, Stone Cold, and The Rock. Would be definitely in there for 3.
Rick, Stone Cold,
and the 4th would be you know what? Undertaker was never one of my favorites, but you got to put him up there.
Can't go wrong with the dead man.
Because his longevity was crazy. He's like LeBron. You know?
He really is, right? And it wasn't just like because in wrestling, obviously, we see guys wrestle to their 50s, and they're like, all right, you shouldn't be wrestling. And obviously, the last few years, Taker probably shouldn't, but for the most part, he was on top of his game, you know, throughout his career for the most part.
Bret Hart was a better wrestler than Undertaker, though. But
yeah, I don't know. Bret's my guy, man. Bret's my guy. That's my guy.
Excellence of execution.
Excellence of execution. Yeah, that's my guy.
There is the best there was and the best there was.
Like when WrestleMania was it WrestleMania 12 when it was him versus Shawn, when Shawn super kicked him and he pinned him 1, 2, 3 in an Iron Man match. Devastated. Probably cried. Yeah. I cried like a baby.
Then they jerked him, right? Was that real?
Yeah.
Did they really
screw job? Oh, you know what's crazy?
You think that was all BS? You think that
I don't know if it's BS. I don't think it just can't be all BS because Bret's still bitter about it. I don't think you could be bitter that long if it's fake. Like but he looks legit still. So I think they probably amped it up a little bit. They definitely tuned it up a little bit. You know,
those old school guys will stay. Well, they'll stay in character. That's what they.
They amped it up a little bit more than we think, but I think there is some realness to it. I think there definitely is, you know, because I think, you know, because Vince got punched in the eye, you know, but I think Vince amped it up a little bit more because he's a promoter, you know, so he gonna amp it up, but I think there's some realness to it, you know, but that's the whole thing.
Were you into the ECW era?
I love ECW too, yeah. I feel like everyone loved ECW growing up, and then everyone either picked WWF Raw. They were watching Raw or they're watching Nitro. It was hard because it's not obviously like today, you know, where you can, you know, DVR one and watch the other. You had to pick. You had to pick, or else, if you had a
no, you could VHS it.
No, but for the most part, you know, I'm a kid. I didn't have time to VCR. I was like, hey, I'm Raw. I'm Team Raw. But
I was Raw, but honestly, WCW and NWO was more lit at one point.
Oh,
you know, they were beating them.
It was compelling, and then
NWO was bigger than everything. Like,
but they dropped the ball. It's crazy how bad they've dropped the ball.
Do you think Steve Austin's height was bigger than NWO's height? I know it's not fair to like a group versus one wrestler, right?
I think Austin's hype. I think that's the reason why WWF survived was because of him. I don't think if he's not around, WWF folds or they're just not as relevant.
Mount Rushmore? Is it Bret Hart with those 3 guys? Who's your Mount Rushmore? Is it Bret Hart?
Mount Rushmore. Bret's in my Mount Rushmore. I'm gonna put Shawn is in my Mount Rushmore.
Over who?
Over who? Rick is in my Mount Rushmore. Ric Flair. and Stone Cold's in my Mount Rushmore.
Wait, it's your favorite, but not the greatest, right? Because you can't have Shawn Michaels over The Rock.
The Rock is. It would be my 5. And listen, The Rock.
No, wait. I'm talking not your favorite in terms of greatness. The Rock is over Shawn Michaels.
No, I can't. See.
Nah, yeah, I think you're. I think you like Shawn.
It's tough, but I have all time, and I've even done my own rankings. I have Shawn over The Rock all time, simply because longevity. Well,
a lot of guys had longevity over The Rock.
Yeah, because The Rock's technically from 90, when The Rock's kind of peak was what 98, 98, and then he was gone by 03. So that's a 5-year period,
I think The Undertaker was greater than Shawn.
I think
because he stayed on a higher level for longer.
The thing is with Taker, he has a lot of duds. He's got a lot of duds, especially like WrestleMania.
Also, there was those times when he wasn't even wrestling, and
there was times when he was wrestling some garbage guys, and he just didn't have good matches. To me, Shawn, I look back at all his WrestleManias. There's not one where I'm like,
he was a great.
He performed at the highest level, and he had bangers. Pretty much, he had bangers every time.
Taking into consideration in-ring ability more than maybe somebody.
His in-ring ability at the highest stage, like the match he had with Ric Flair. I've always put this. Ric Flair was in his 50s. He put on one of the best matches ever with old Ric Flair and made Ric Flair look like $1,000,000. He made him look like he was prime Ric Flair.
Yeah, no, he was a great worker.
And that's for me was it. And then the matches with Taker, I mean, those I don't know if you've seen WrestleMania 25 and 20. Those matches are just it's art. It's just poetry emotion to what they were able to do to sell
I wouldn't have Shawn over Brett.
No, I don't. Shawn over Brett's my guy. That's
Brett's not on Mount Rushmore though, right?
Brett, no, it's Brett. It's my Mount Rushmore is Brett, Shawn, Rick, and Austin. Those are my guys. Those I think and that's eliminating Hogan, because Hogan would be on there because Hogan. Think wrestling, you think Hogan, right? That's number one.
No, that's what I'm saying. But let's say Hogan's not canceled. I think
Hogan would be there.
He would be in there.
I would take Brett out and put Hogan in there.
But Stone Cold would still be one, right?
Yeah, because if we put Hogan in there, to me it would be Hogan. My averaging things out, and I've done this.
This would be mine if we put Hogan, but Hogan's canceled because of the crazy stuff he said. But let's just say if he was a normal guy and didn't say crazy stuff, it would be Ric Flair, Austin, Hogan,
Ric Flair, Hogan, Austin,
The Rock.
Because to me, those are the 4 guys that have the biggest names. When you say wrestling, everyone who, even if you haven't watched wrestling in 20 years since the Attitude Era, you're going to mention one of those 4 guys, if not all 4. So that's why I think Mount Rushmore is about who's the biggest names. So like HBK, even though I think he's not on
the level.
He's not on there because he just doesn't have the name notoriety, just in the wrestling world. But I'm talking about just regular.
So Undertaker's above him in regular everyday people too, right?
Yeah. Because especially Taker's been more relevant.
Actually, Macho and Ultimate are above Shawn Michaels in that regular everyday people.
Macho Man is very popular still. He's still popular. Yeah, because Macho Man was so flashy and all that, and like the commercials, Slim Jim commercials and all that.
Iconic.
Yeah. It's hard to do a wrestling because it's preference too. It's preference.
But I'm trying to take preference out of it because number 1 would be Stone Cold for me, but I think Ric Flair is greater actually.
Mm-hmm. But I think Austin he changed the game. He changed the game. Like he's a franchise player. Like he's someone you build your team around.
I feel like Ric Flair is like Jordan, and actually, I don't know. Maybe Austin's like Jordan, and Ric Flair's like LeBron. I don't know. That's I've been working on this. I've been working on wrestling and basketball and combining, and like to me, Undertaker's Shaq, right? He's the most dominant, kind of like a dominator.
I think Undertaker is like Tim Duncan.
Fundamentals,
big man, longevity, just wins.
Like he talked about on the Rogan pod how he was like thinking about going overseas.
Yeah.
And then he ended up doing wrestling.
And I think John Cena is LeBron James.
I wasn't. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that's past my time. Like
I know,
I know.
that it's past that, but if you watch John Cena and
He
like
got. How's his bars? He can rap too.
he got bars too. He got bars. John Cena.
Like,
He had
good?
like a legit like top 10 like Billboard album at one point in like 2006.
Who are you listening to in terms of music now?
Music. I stick to my Fab. I'm still listening to Fab to this day. Jadakiss is still my guy.
You listen to Griselda,
Griselda. No,
Benny the Butcher, and them.
Benny the Butcher. Yeah. I've listened to Benny.
That's part of Griselda.
So like Joel Ortiz is another one.
His album was good. His latest.
Yeah. I feel like he should be getting way more. He should be way bigger than what he is because he to me he's one of the
type of rap he does is in mainstream now. So that's the reason.
But, yeah, especially with Slaughterhouse. A lot of those guys, just for whatever reason, just hasn't.
One of them is one of the biggest podcasters. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy how they went to Patreon, right? What do you think about that?
Yeah, because they got the Spotify deal,
but that's over now.
But it's over now. They had issues with that.
That's crazy. That's Patreon.
Yeah, I guess Patreon's is easier way to just the money's directed. It's just the easier way. Like,
I don't know if it's easier. It's work, but I
mean, they got a nice. I'm sure he has a nice crew. I mean, he's making money on YouTube and all that. They're doing the Rogan style YouTube. They do their full show, but then they'll clip it up, which is the new the smart way to do, because now you just make it more money.
I need interns to do that for me.
I say that all the time, man. I'm like, man, I want to do that, but it's just so much work. You got to get someone to do that, help you out. Clip it up. You can clip up pieces of this show, and then people want to watch the full show. But that's the way to do it. That's Rogan started that, and it's crazy how much podcasting has just blew up. It's really blown up where it's a legit business. Like people, it's not just a form of audio and just whatever. It's a legit business.
Because I think in the beginning it was to promote your business. Mm-hmm. People you still use podcasts to promote their business, right? Like your company could have a podcast, and that kind of draws attention to you, and it's free attention because you could put out a podcast pretty much for free. But now, you're right, it's its own business.
It's its own business.
There's so many ways to do podcasts. There's so many ways.
It really is. There's just so many. It's just crazy how it's really blown up, and where it's just, like you said, people are making money just doing podcasts. That was even just a few years ago. That wasn't even a thought. Like can't make money podcasting. What are you talking about? Now it's legit form where people, it's a business. I run the podcast like a business. You do your, how it works. You're doing your pre-production, you're doing your post-production, the actual show. You're trying to market it to people. You have to, with sponsors. I know I got sponsors, and you gotta fill in the spots for the sponsors and make sure they're good, they're happy, and all that. It's a legit business. You got to run it like a business. It's crazy.
Most definitely.
It's definitely. So that was your 4, right? For your all time.
So we're not. Are we using Hogan or no?
You know what? Let's put Hogan in. It's hard to do it without Hogan. We'll give him.
We don't mess with.
We don't condone what he said, but it's hard to just.
So I guess it's Hogan, Flair, Rock, Austin. I don't think
Hogan, Flair, Rock, Austin.
I don't think you could really argue that, to be honest. Who could
Flair, Rock? Those are the 4 biggest names in wrestling. Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think anybody could. I don't think anybody could get in there.
No, I agree.
I don't even know if there's an argument. Who would have the argument to get in there?
As far as, to me, those are the 4 biggest franchise guys. You build your corporation around them. You build your wrestling federation after
in terms of names, but Macho can't get in there.
Right. They're the biggest draws too.
Yeah.
You're right.
Those 4 guys, but we cancel Hogan, so we'll put Bret Hart in there just because we like him.
He didn't draw as much, but I think he's one of the best. Definitely. Yeah. So to get back to you, I could talk wrestling all day, bro. I could talk wrestling all day.
Here's another thing. I used to have to go to get the VHS tapes in the tape store. Now you can watch stuff for free on YouTube. It's amazing. I know it sounds crazy. It sounds like we don't even take it into consideration how much we should love YouTube. YouTube is great. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't take it for granted. You know, I don't take YouTube for granted. Shout out to
Especially,
YouTube. Send me a check for promoting your platform.
especially right before the WWE network came around. Like in order to watch old school wrestling stuff, you had it either you had VHS tapes or DVDs, but YouTube, you just type in, "Hey, let me watch something from 1999 Vengeance." Boom, it
Yeah.
pops up, and you're like, "Wow, I remember that." And like it brings you back to that moment when you were a kid, and
Do you watch a lot of shoot interviews or no? Do you watch
yeah,
a lot of? Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
interesting. I feel like it was more interesting when they were trying to keep it kayfabe.
Yeah, because now everything's out in the open. Like we all
Yeah,
know.
so it's like you're not really trying to look for anything. You're like, you know what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I remember one of the first things was when remember. I don't know if you remember when Edge and Matt Hardy had their little feud over Lita, but it was real.
But they used it in the storyline.
But they used it was a real storyline. You
She
know,
wasn't even bad.
she
Like, right?
cheated on Matt Hardy with Edge, and that was real. And like Edge was like became like, but it actually benefited Edge, and he became the biggest heel in the business because people.
But he was actually more talented, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. He was always the he was, and that was right before he became the champ.
He was really good in the ring and out the ring. Excellent.
Yeah, he was another one. But I remember that and being like, "Whoa, this is crazy!" Like,
Those underrated, Jericho.
yeah, Jericho's dope. He's one of the best all around. Like he could wrestle, and he could talk. You know,
Like he's more skilled than some of those guys we named in the top four. Just
oh
like
yeah, he's probably more skilled than all of them, definitely. But he's just not.
He
doesn't have the star power. That's the thing.
See, that was my thing. See, I was thinking about like when my Kyrie point to wrestling, like when I was saying he's the most skilled, people like
yeah, I remember you said that. Yeah.
And I was like, he is the most skilled, but like Dean Malenko he has 1,000 moves, right? But
so happy you brought him up.
That doesn't mean he's the greatest wrestler ever. You know, it's like same thing. Like Kyrie's might be the most skilled ever, but it doesn't mean he's the greatest ever. Yeah, like, I kind of brought that into wrestling a little bit.
No, you're right. Because I remember you said that, and people are gonna just take that out of context and just be like, "What are you talking about? He just has not what you're saying.
He has more options as an offensive player than I think anybody. You know, just more options.
Oh yeah, I mean the handles, the his ability to get to the basket. You know, it's just what he can do is. There's not a lot of guys that could do what he could do. You know, he's a special talent.
Yeah, most definitely.
And it's people get overwrapped. You know, like I said, people just get crazy. You know, they just want to just react to everything. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Who are some of your favorite guys you like watching now?
In terms of basketball?
Yes, in terms of basketball. We can keep talking wrestling if you want.
I guess I think I said it before, like Luka, Ja, obviously LeBron, Paul George. I think he got a lot of they were really criticizing him in the bubble.
Another one that got killed in the media.
That guy really has no weaknesses if you really watch him play. There's a lot of players I like, man. You know, there's a lot of players I like. How about you?
I mean, I love the big man. You know, watching Joker and watching Embiid is so much fun to watch. They're just special. You know what they can do.
Yeah, those are the two MVP guys right now. Probably
those are my two. Yeah, I think Embiid's the MVP right now. Those they're definitely the top two. I still love watching big men. You know, just what they're able to do. You know, they're so skilled.
Most
definitely two of the most skilled big men. But yeah, I like watching those guys for sure. Like who else? Watching Julius Randle is fun. Being a Knicks fan, just watching him, his progression.
Yeah,
he's in great shape. He's become a better playmaker.
What do you think about Obi Toppin?
I think he's going to be a good one. It's just I think a lot of people are getting on him, but the game against the Bulls, he played better. He's played good. He's going to take some time. Julius has a spot right now. You know, that was the plan, was for him to be that spot and maybe trade Julius, but Julius has played out of his mind. I think that actually benefited Julius, the fact that they drafted Obi, put a little fire in his butt, because they're trying to replace you. I think that was actually, that definitely benefited Julius a lot.
You think they'll move forward? You think they'll move forward with Julius?
It's going to be they're definitely going to guarantee next year. I think that's definitely it's going to go from four. You know, he was going to make 4 million guaranteed. He's going to get that whole 19, I think 19 or 20 guarantee. But is it? I don't know if they're going to give him an extension. Is he going to be? Is he worthy of what 4 or 5 year max? You know, 150, $50 million. That's a real thing they got to figure out. So it's going to be interesting to see. Right now, I would give it to him. I would give it to him because there's no guarantee you're getting anyone else. Because obviously you've seen the Knicks, free agency.
It's like the grass is always greener, but not really, right? Like,
yeah.
You got a good guy. He's playing like an all-star.
He's playing. Yeah, he's an all-star.
When do they announce the all-stars? Do you know?
I'm not sure when. I know the first like ballots came in, and I think they do like a few like ballot returns, and then they go about that. But he's definitely playing at all-star level. How do you feel about the Knicks' future?
How do I feel about the Knicks' future? I like Quickly.
He's definitely.
Yeah, you know what? I hope they have a great season, and then
Derrick Rose too. We just got Derrick Rose.
They could still get they could get in that play-in and still get like a top 10 pick, right, in the draft.
Well, yeah, because they have Dallas's pick.
Yeah, so like a combination of that would be great. I mean, like you have a lot of players that could really pop in this year's draft. Like 1 through 7 is like really good. Like those guys have some real superstar potential.
And that's all they need.
I like their future. People get mad at me because I said they should have took Halliburton instead of Obi. They said I'm nitpicking, but
let me ask you a question, and that's a good thing that I'm glad you brought that up because that's been a thing. And I was a big Halliburton guy to myself, and I wanted the Knicks to draft a point guard because I think you need a point guard in the league.
And he's not only a point guard; he could just fit with the point guard or shooting guard or any type of player.
He's a guard, and
he's versatile. He's versatile on offense and even on defense. Even though he can't guard bigs, he's not something you have to change your defense around for. Like Obi. Like if Obi becomes a primary player, right? Like almost all-star, you still have to do some things on defense to build around him because he's not versatile. Like he can't guard guards, and honestly, he really can't guard bigs.
No.
But
I think with Halliburton, I was one of the guys I wanted, Halliburton, and there's a few guys I liked, Cole Anthony and the kid from Bama. The kid from Bama, I'm blanking on his name right now. But I think the Knicks didn't think. I don't think they thought that Randall was going to break out like this, or else I think they'd take a point guard. They take Halliburton.
I thought Halliburton and RJ
Kyra Lewis from Alabama.
Yeah, he's good.
I don't think they thought this was going to happen, or else I think why wouldn't they take a point guard if that was the case?
Well, I don't think anybody thought Randall would have this type of season. He's having a great season.
He's having an all-star. I don't think they thought I thought they were like, we're going to try to trade him. Like he just doesn't fit. Let's take Obi and continue to build. I don't think there's no way they thought that he was going to break out the way he is, or else they would have taken Halliburton or one of these guys, one of these guards. I think that would have been ideal, but he broke out, and then that makes the like obviously Quickly has made up for it. His ability to not just be a point guard, but he's a combo guard too, who can break down the defense and all that, and he could shoot and all that, and he's definitely played well.
He's a willing shooter. He'll get it up, which is good. I think a lot underrated thing is about just shooting is that everybody looks at efficiency, but sometimes when you're just really willing, it gives you gravity and it pulls the defense towards you.
He's so confident.
He'll let it go. He'll let it go.
His confidence too.
Even if he misses a few, you're still going to guard him. Because he can shoot at any point. So
I just love his confidence. His confidence on the court is just it's infectious.
He grabs his own offensive rebound all the time. He got a nice floater. He's good, man. He's tough.
He's patient with the ball. Like he's always trying to draw the fouls with the floater around that. He's working.
He told Lou Williams he's his favorite player. You saw that clip?
Yeah. And it's crazy because he got a lot of comps to Lou Will, in the draft process.
He's more point guardish. He's more point guardish than
Lou Will is a bucket more just a scorer, but they have just their body types and all that. It's very similar. They got very similar body types, but I think the Knicks right now they're definitely better than a lot of people thought. Right, just their record. Right, what are they 10-13 right now, or 11-13? I don't think anyone if you told me that before the season that the Knicks would be, the 8 seed right now, I'd be like, what are you talking about? But they definitely played a lot better than we anticipated, and it's just fun to see competitive basketball for once, right?
No, it's good. It's good. It's good. I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm not a fan of any team, but it's good to have a good team in New York. People are excited for you,
Yeah,
and hopefully when the fans get back, we could we could have some good crowd reaction to what we're
New
seeing.
York City basketball needed this. It feels like New York
And
City basketball.
they never gave up. They always were there, even when they were not good. So.
And then you got Brooklyn doing what they're doing. How do you feel about that victory?
They got to make some roster changes to their bench because the defense is just not good. Like they got obviously chemistry, depth, rim protection are all issues with that, but they'll figure it out.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I think they just signed. I think they just signed somebody.
They got Shump. They got Shump last week, and then today they signed. He played for the Knicks 2 years ago. What's his name? He played for Indiana. He went to Indiana.
Well, they signed Norvell Pell, I thought, right? That was some guy I thought they should have signed. I actually
Noah. What's his name? Noah Vonleh. There you go.
Yeah. You got, Andre Drummond would be big, but then it's almost like it's a real. Well, it's already like championship or bust, but I mean, like Andre Drummond, man, they just got a lot of guys, man.
Yeah, they got too many bigs in Cleveland. They got to get rid of them. Even if Brooklyn goes after like McGee, that's something.
How can they get Jared Allen back? That would help them.
I think they really were. I'm sure they were when they made that trade. They were trying to figure a way. Hey, can we just keep Allen? Because that's huge. Losing him was huge. So
that was like it reminds me like the Clippers, like letting go of Shea. Like
yeah, Doc was hurting. I mean, every presser he was like, man,
it's like couldn't you hold on to that a little bit longer and be like, nah, we're not doing it. Like you don't think they would have done the trade anyway? If you just like hold tight.
Yeah, man, but it's crazy how you have to do that in order to get Kawhi. You had to go get PG, but you had to trade Shea, so you had to make some tough. That was
or learn some negotiating tactics.
Yeah, he wound up leaving anyway, Doc. So he tried to.
I like that fit in Philly for him. Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely. They got some shooters there too, which helps a lot. With Embiid and Simmons. So, So before we wrap up, who's right now? Who's going to the finals? If you had to pick right now,
Lakers, Philly.
Yeah, Lakers are definitely coming out of the West. Philly's looking good right now.
I mean, the Clippers I like Clippers better this year than last year, but I still think if the Lakers stay healthy, they're the best team.
Yeah, and Anthony Davis got the Achilles right now. Hopefully that gets better.
Wait, what'd you say?
Anthony Davis got an Achilles injury.
Does he?
It's not a tear or anything, but he's out. I know he's not playing today. He's got a little. He's been banged up all year. I mean, the bubble he's still got the effects of the bubble. But they got to keep that big man healthy because if he's not right, then that's gonna be tough for LeBron to get through.
And the Lakers the Lakers are better, and if they don't have AD at full, that could be a big issue. It always depends on who's healthy, but I like what Philly did with their roster construction. They put shooting around Embiid, shooters, and they got leadership with Doc Rivers, and I like Daryl Morey leading things as well in the offense. I just think like winning championships is not any one thing; it's just a combination of everything. It's not only roster construction, it's not only chemistry, it's not only coaching, it's not only front office, but when you make everything a little bit better and you're already a good team and you have two top 15 players, I think Ben is super underrated in my opinion. I think everybody looks at what he can do and not look what he can do because he's elite in so many areas. So I really like Philly, man. I think they could really come out the East, but the Nets are dangerous, man, when you have three of the best players in the league, but the defense is an issue for them. So
oh yeah. That's for sure. But they definitely got the talent on offense. They got three of the top 10, top 15 offensive players in the league. But they still got to figure it out. Milwaukee's still going to be creeping around, but it's going to be interesting. There's some fun matchups we could possibly see. And it feels like there's a lot of parity this year. There's a lot of parity. There's a lot of, there's no guarantee that, the Lakers can come out. They got a dogfight coming out the West.
maybe Utah just stays healthier than everybody and wins it all. I like them. I think they're pretty good.
That's all it's about, right? Look at Miami; they're all banged up, and they've struggled of late. So it's all about health. Whoever's the healthiest team going into the playoffs, probably going to get it done. So hopefully, we'll see. But Combo, my man, this was a lot of fun, bro. I appreciate it. We got to talk some basketball. We got to mix it in with some wrestling. Talk some Nintendo 64. I don't think people saw that coming today. Talking.
The wrestling led to the N64.
Yeah. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff, and talk about your journey, your basketball journey, which is always fun to talk about with guys. But like I said, I appreciate you coming on, bro. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, man. No doubt. So before we sign off for the night, where can the people find you? Whatever work you going on, your show, plug all that good stuff.
Yeah, Combos Court Podcast. You can listen to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. We're over 230 episodes in, probably 250 with all those.
Congratulations.
Yeah, with all those bonus episodes we've done. I think we're up to 250 if you count all those.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, you can follow me on 12 Combo. That's ONETWOCOMBO. Combos Court on Twitter, COMBOSCOURT. And yeah, man, Chris, great stuff. You're a natural at what you do. You're doing great. Keep up the great work and talk soon.
I appreciate you, Combo. That means a lot. And like I said, appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you watched the live, appreciate everyone for staying up late and listening to this great conversation I had with Combo. We definitely had a lot of fun doing this. And like I said, thanks for everyone who's you're gonna post this. I'm gonna post this as a podcast after. So if you missed the live show, don't worry. We'll have this up on YouTube. We'll have this up on the podcast. So that'll come up in the next few days. But like I said, Combo, my man, be safe. Take care. It's crazy out here in New York City. So be safe, social distance, and hopefully, we'll definitely get the link up one day and maybe do a live show one day. That definitely would be dope.
And we got to do N64.
And then we can do a live. Yeah, we could do the live stream with the 64.
Do you feel like you're elite in that game? Do you feel you're elite? Like I didn't get the confidence.
I haven't played a little bit. I haven't played in a few months.
I got a lot of confidence. I don't know. I don't think I can lose.
Just give me a day. Give me a day, and I'll be elite. I'll get my elite skills. But we definitely gonna have that. We'll live stream that, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully we'll get to do a live show, and we'll have some Nintendo 64 battles in there. But like I said, Combo, pleasure to have you on the show, man. We definitely got to do this again. And like I said, be safe and be well, man.
Be safe. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No doubt. Take care.